Hey everybody, I am coming to you today on a Loom, and we're going to talk about the software that I use to do my recording. So I'm recording right now using my iPhone camera. It's a little better, although there's a blurring in the background. I have not figured out how to get that to stop yet. I'm using Loom to record this video this time. Last time I used Zoom to see how that worked. And I'm using this microphone. I think it's louder, quieter, etc. So when I'm recording and just talking to you, you'll see me face to face, but then I'm going to go into some magic bubble and focus on the screen. So today we're going to talk about virtual workshops. So I'm going to show you a couple of tools you can use if you need to run a meeting and you want to use a workshop layout. There's lots of tools out there. I'm going to be showing you Zoom and Miro, but there's more than that you could use. These are just the ones that I'm familiar with. And I'm consider myself a basic user, so there's even more that you can do. I think today we'll just start with some basic. So let me switch this into a circle. As I learn, you learn. So hopefully we can figure out how to finish recording this here Loom. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to make myself into a smaller circle. And if I look at you, you can see me on that little corner in the circle. But otherwise, hopefully, what you can see is the screen. So I'm recording a Loom, I think, right now. And if we're lucky, it'll stay. All right. So one of the systems that you can use is Zoom. A lot of people have used Zoom. This is a feature of Zoom called Whiteboard. So normally when you pull up your Zoom page, it looks something like this. I have a paid account, so yours, if you're not paid, may look different, and it's a workspace account. But down here under Whiteboard, this is a place where you can create workshop templates, or you can use ones that they've already had for you. Up here is where you would present it during the meeting that you're having. And you can work on this on the side on another screen. And then when you hit present, it'll go into the Zoom meeting that you're having. I've started looking at this because Miro has you have to pay for Miro. And this is included with my subscription already with Zoom. It does not have nearly as much that you can do with it as Miro does, but it's got quite a bit here. So one of the things I want to show you real quick is also you can use AI to help you create these workspaces. This is the prompt that I used, just top of the head, explaining what type of whiteboard I wanted for the workshop that I would hypothetically be presenting. So I want to create a workshop canvas, and I'm listing them by frames. Especially in Miro, frames are the pieces that you can print to PDF, and it really keeps everything organized as you're keeping it going. Frame 1, I had a picture of a cartoon sailboat, ended up not working out, so I went to an icon image instead. And you can see from here, I asked it to title it, and then I said in the next frame, I want to have yellow post-it like things, little shapes. I didn't quite know how to explain it, but throughout all of this, it actually was able to share it and create it very, very well. So here's pretty much what it ended up looking like. I did very minimal editing here. So within this whiteboard, when you right click is when you can drag the thing around. You can either scroll in and out to zoom, or you can use these little plus minus buttons over here. When I do click on something, I've got this Loom set up to where it'll showcase, it'll like highlight where I'm pushing. Another nice feature of Loom when you're trying to give tutorials. Okay, so this is the first frame. It gave me this icon. It put in these words, and it put in some post-it notes. I created a few more, but what's nice about this is when you share this with people using the share button up here, once you do that, you can share it with the channel or an email, or you can give it to people with the link. So what you would do, anyone with a link, you put that into the chat of your Zoom, and then people can go in there and work on it with you. So this is a great system for when you want to do idea brainstorming. So for example, this is a sailboat. Normally I would have an anchor on this and then little fake waters right here. So let's see. Let's do a dark blue pen. Cool. And then here's a little anchor. Close enough. Okay, so as you can see, you can use a pen in here. I'm going to go back to my selection frame. So what we do with this is we have people do one part at a time, and you say, okay, let's talk about what's happening in our office. If you want to be very generic, you just say, what's going on well, and have people just start typing what's going well. You can reduce the font somehow. I'm new to this particular one. Let's see, text. There we go. Let's make it smaller. So they can just start typing in to these little ones what their ideas are. And then what's moving us forward, you can just drag it up, have people drag it up, or what's holding us back, their ideas, you can put it down below. Then you've got all of people's ideas over here. I'm just gonna put a 2 here. Let's call this. If I would preset these to have the right fonts when you're preparing for a meeting, the right fonts, the right sizing as well. So test 1. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's see here. Okay, test 1. When you click on them, you should be able to do Command D and it will duplicate it. Test 2. Okay. So then what you could do from this point is you bring everything over that people voted on, have them take a quick little break if you want to, bring them over here, and as the facilitator, you can categorize them. So let's say there's multiples for let's say they have a theme of culture in the businesses, something that needs worked on. Or maybe there's something about efficiency that needs worked on. So you put your little themes here, and then you organize all your little spots underneath each of the themes that you come up with based on what people are doing. From there, what you can do is you can have people vote on what they think should be tackled first. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. One way is to have these little dots on here, and you can just have people drag their 3 dots to wherever they want them to be, or 5 dots, whatever you want to give them. That's one way to do it. People usually figure out how to drag and drop pretty well. Another way you can do that is over here, there's a voting option in Zoom. So when you click on voting, I need to create a voting session. And you can decide how many votes per person. You can go high or low. Let's do 3. You can give them a time limit. It starts the lowest is 5. So this is a great way to keep track of time during a workshop. I'm going to say no limit because I'm going to end it pretty quickly. And then I can click on the things that I want them to vote on. So I'm holding down the Command or Control key. And let's say I just want them to vote on the themes. And I just highlight what needs voted on. You could also, I believe, just highlight like that and say, oh, I just want you to vote on these blue ones. And then control. Oh, there's one missing. Let's vote on this guy too. And then, okay, we'll start the voting. Then everyone that's in the meeting will be given the opportunity to vote. It'll come up on their screen just like this. It'll say you have 3 votes left. And I can go over and just hit this little plus button on the ones that I want to vote on. So I can spread my votes out among 3, and it'll say no more are left, and you can say I'm done. Or I can lower it down and do 2 on 1 or 3 on 1. And then you just hit I'm done. And then once everyone is done, it'll go back to the main screen. But voting session's ongoing, and since I'm the person in charge, I'm going to end for all. And then once it's ended, what you'll see is, oh, I guess I should bring that up again. You'll see one vote here, two votes here, and it will end up showing you all the total votes and which one's the winner. That one's actually probably easier for people to use. It may be a little bit more difficult for you as the facilitator to get everything lined up, but I actually really like this method better than these dots down here. Okay, so then you can go on to the next part of the canvas and say, okay, we've decided to go with this thing about everything takes too much time. Let's say we're about efficiency, too much time. Let's say this is what we've all decided in this workshop is going to be what we talk about. So we'll come up here. So we're going to rephrase the problem. There's too much time, and we're going to create how might we statements to reframe it into something more positive. And my dog just walked in the door. Okay, so you can instruct people to come in here and say, instead of doing how might we spend too much time, how might we use, gotta put my fingers on the right one, use our meeting time more efficiently. And everyone will come up with what they think their how might we statement is. Once that is all done, you can do the voting again using either dots or using up here in this little quad of symbols. Oh, it's not there. It's moved over here to voting. Since we've done it once, it pops up right there again. So you can create a new voting session down here, or you can have people move the dots around, whatever you decide. Okay, and then once we get these how might we statements, what we would do again is, let's say this is the one people vote on. What you could do then is add in some more sticky notes for people to come up with their ideas on how we might be able to do that. So we figured out what the problems are. We focused on one about too much time in meetings, and now we're going to have people provide ideas. So if you haven't got this set up during a meeting, right here is where you can add some sticky notes, and you can just like pick the color, and there is also a way to stack. So when you click it, just click purple. And you can also change the size if you wanted it to look differently. You should be able to make a stack of them. Maybe that's how I did it. There we go. So to make a stack, you could change it once you create the stack. But what's nice is it'll create this little thing so people can just start grabbing all their sticky notes and writing with them. I think that's pretty cool. And again, this is all in Zoom. So if you have a Zoom account, I'm not sure if you have to have paid. This is just part of the Zoom account. Okay, so then we come over here. We've got our stickies with our ideas, and this is where we decide how are we going to rate this. We could talk about risk, we could talk about effort, we could talk about impact, but we're going to find the two ways we want to rate this, and we will put them on this axis. So we'll put criteria 1 here, and this will be less of that criteria and more of that criteria. So for example, low impact, high impact, and then a second criteria, whatever that may be. It could be risk, high risk, low risk. And then you have the team start deciding where these go. Is this answer low impact or high impact? Is it high risk or low risk? And then you end up just moving them around to where they need to be. So I put this together very quickly with AI. I didn't adjust sizing or anything like that. I just wanted to show you quickly how you could use Zoom to do a virtual workshop. Okay, so let's go to the other one that I've got. This one is called Miro. This is my homepage. Miro is one that's used or has been used a lot by AJ and Smart and by some of my peers who are certified and do these virtual workshops. It's very good. I like it. You can see I've gotten quite a few templates through my time working with them that I'm probably going to go over bits and pieces of them over time. But I decided to just create one using I did a similar concept. This is what it came up with in Miro. So I used the exact same prompt, which was this prompt right here. I plugged it into my Miro. I think it was this one. Yeah, so this brings up your AI and you can give it things. Or when you hit create for a new one, I'll go back here and show you. So, where'd it go? So you can just take that prompt. No, there's an easier way to do that, but so you put that in there and then you have it start creating for you. It's like, okay, we'll look for some templates and then it'll go through and help you create that workshop board. I'm going to stop it because I've already done it. So the one I created, I didn't name. Here it is. Same rules here as on the Zoom whiteboard. You zoom in and out using your scroll button or down here with the pluses. And then you move it around by right clicking and dragging. So here's its interpretation in Miro. Miro's just solely focused on whiteboards, so I think it ended up a little bit better. So here's the sailboat collection exercise. They just did a picture of one. I might want to change that, but I think it's good. It's better than the other one. And if you wanted to, say you wanted to have some more of these, you would just do Command D for duplicate or Control D for duplicate, and it'll just duplicate some more, and you can move them on up here for everybody to use. So the top is what's moving things forward and what's holding us back. So same process as this other activity I showed you on Zoom. And then over here, this is how it set things up using Miro. This is a pretty common framework. I was testing adding in sticky notes here. These actually are, I don't think these are sticky notes. I think they're just places to write, but it'll still work. And also in this program in Miro, the same way you would click on these icons in Zoom, they're in the same spot on Miro. I don't know who started it. I kind of feel like Miro was first and then Zoom bought it or got the approval to use their format. But when you click on it, you go to voting. And then what's nice in Miro is that it'll pull out shapes, sticky notes, images, cards, etc. So you could, if you just had one board, just really quickly click shapes and it'll pick all the shapes, or sticky notes. This is the only true sticky note I have. Or you can do the same thing we tried on the other one. Oops. Z. Looks like you can change the voting area by adjusting this that image. So voting, let's make it smaller. I mean, it's still, to me, it is still faster to do this stuff in person. So if you have any way, why won't it work? Let's get out of that for now. There we go. Okay. So if you have any way of doing this in person, that's usually best. But if you need to do virtual, there are tools out there to simulate the experience. It's still going to take less time. I keep removing my voting area. It's still going to take less time than if you just sit around talking the whole time. Over here is where you say how many votes people get, how many minutes they have. And then you can set it to where they can only vote on one vote per object. I prefer not to have that set, but you can. Then you can show the results on the board. So if you hit start, each person will get the join voting. And then I can go around and do voting just like we saw in the Zoom. It says that I'm done. Great, I'm done. I'm the facilitator. I'm going to end for all. Let's end the session. And that's how you'll see it pop up, and then it does a little celebration, which is super cute. So a couple ways you can do that in Miro. And then I'm going to X out of voting. Apologies for the very loud mouse, if you can hear that. And then here's another one, the how might we statements and the decision matrix. What I like about this is that it straight up made the effort impact matrix that I use quite a bit. Low effort, high impact. So it just spells it out for you. And then you can start placing them in the right spot. So I think for the AI development of a workshop system, I think Miro's the best. But if you just have Zoom, Zoom does a good enough job. They all have templates, so you don't even have to create it from scratch. You can go in and use one that's already there. They've got lots of really good workshopping templates available. And I think also one thing you should know is that you can share these. So I should call it my test workshop, save it. And then to share, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can share it so that the link they can view, comment, or edit. If you're going to be working with people, and you want them to participate, it's going to have to be comment or edit. Edit is preferred as long as you spend some time teaching them how to use Miro at the beginning. Okay, so I think that is everything that I wanted to talk about today. We talked about Miro, we talked about Zoom, and how you can use them for digital and virtual workshops. Leave a note in the comments if you have any questions or if you want me to dive deeper onto any of these topics. And I'll see you guys next week.